All right, so we got something to add today. For this unit, we got to work with inequalities also. All right? Basically, inequalities are just like equations, except we have an equal sign, we have an inequality sign. When we have an inequality, and we'll start with this one, this is a one-step inequality, we solve them by doing the opposite. So I've got x minus 5, I add 5 to each side. So I'm left with x, because that cancels out, less than 35. Okay? That's it. Now what you have to be aware, the answer isn't just 35. We need that whole inequality. We need the variable, the inequality sign, and the number all to be correct on there, okay? Because if it asks for solutions, which we'll get to those types of problems tomorrow, if it asks for what are solutions to this, that's any number that's less than 35, okay? So 0 would be a solution. Negative 583 billion would be a solution. Everybody follow on that? At least a little bit? We solve them just like an equation. We do the opposite. So I've got multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So I would divide by negative 13. Divide by negative 13. So my negative 13s cancel out on this side. I got x. 117 divided by negative 13. You give me negative 9. What should my inequality sign look like on this one? Pointing to the x? Well, it starts off, it's pointing to the x, right? And for the most part, we want to keep the inequality sign looking the same. There is one exception. You might remember this from 7th grade. When you divide by a negative number, which we just did right here, you have to flip the inequality sign. Y'all remember that from last year? If you divide by negative, you have to flip the inequality sign. Now, the good part is, for the most part, we don't have to do that too often, okay? We'll have to do something maybe a little bit different. I'll show you in a second. So everybody with me so far? You only flip it if you're dividing by a negative until we get to the variables on both sides. All right, so first, I'm going to distribute. Just like with the equations, right? If there's distributing, we distribute. So that negative 2 gets multiplied by both parts. All right, now what do I do? I solve, but what do I do specifically here? There's no like terms. Yeah, we're going to add 30. We get rid of addition or subtraction, just like with an equation. So we go plus 30, plus 30. Those cancel. I got negative 6x less than or equal to, that makes 72. All right, now, what do I do? Oh, I'm still solving, yeah. Divide. We're going to divide. So I divide by negative 6. Those cancel. Divide by negative 6. I got x. 72 divided by negative 6. Going to be negative 12. What do I need to do with my inequality sign? Anything? Flip it. Why? Because I divided by a negative. When we divide by a negative, we flip the inequality sign. Otherwise, y'all, this is the exact same step. Right? We distribute. We did that because there's parentheses. We combined like terms. Well, we didn't have any like terms in this one, so we didn't need to. Then we solve by doing opposite. You start with the addition and subtraction. Then you do the multiplication or division part. Okay, and if you're dividing by a negative, that's when we flip the inequality sign. So everybody good? Not so bad, right? All right, so now the variables are on both sides. Do I have anything to distribute? No. Do I have any like terms to combine? No. All right, so y'all go ahead, y'all try this one. No distributing, no combining like terms. So to start with, we got 21x minus 9 is greater than or equal to 18x plus 12. Corey, what you got? How's the whole thing look? You need the variable, the inequality sign, and the number. So what you got? Well, you got x, and you said you got 7. Which way is your inequality going? Greater than or equal to. All right? Hey, everybody click. This is how the answer needs to look for these, okay? Variable, inequality sign, number. All right? So we solve. Which one are we moving, 21x or 18x? 18. 18's smaller. We want to move the smaller one. So we go minus 18x, minus 18x. Cancels. 3x minus 9, greater than or equal to 12. Do opposite, start with that addition or subtraction. So we got 3x greater than or equal to 21. Divide. Yeah, we're not dividing by a negative. We're dividing by positive 3. The coefficient's positive, so that means we don't need to flip the inequality sign. So we got x greater than or equal to 7. Okay? Not horrible, right? It's different, a little more to it, because you got to keep track of those inequality signs. All right, so I'm going to do this one. Y'all just pay attention, see how well we follow along. What do I do first? Distribute. So we're distributing a 2. So I got 2 times negative 3x, that's negative 6x. 2 times 1, 2. Less than negative 5x plus 14. All right, everybody good there? Are there any like terms? No. It's not an equal sign, but they got to be on the same side of the inequality sign for them to be like terms. Any like terms are on opposite sides, so those don't count. Negative 6 and negative 5x. Which one's lower? Negative 6 is lower, so remove the negative 6. What it does, by moving the lower one, it's going to make our coefficient positive. So that means we don't have to worry about dividing by a negative ever. But you'll notice I'm moving the variable to this side, aren't I? So I got 2 less than, that makes 1x plus 14. I subtract. So that's a negative 12 less than 1x is just x. Okay? Everybody good with me getting to that step or that point? All right, so your answer choices for stuff like this, they are always going to have, or maybe not always, but I would say 99% of the time, they're going to have the variable on the left side and the number on the right side. Okay? So my little gator there for my inequality sign. For my answer, should it be chomping the x or chomping the negative 12? I heard some of y'all say x. I heard some of y'all say negative 12. Who thinks negative 12? Who could tell me why they think that? Because that's how it was pointed to start with. It was open to the right, so it needs to stay open to the right.
Yeah.
All right, who thinks it's X? Tell me why.
Because it was 1, which is not negative. 12 is a negative, which is 12 is lower than 1. Actually, I don't think negative 12 is negative 12 is lower than 12.
I thought, yeah, I think it's X, because X is more than negative 12. Like, the alligator will want to eat more.
All right, so look right here. Is that an answer? Yeah. No, that's an answer. Okay? It's just not how the answer will look usually on multiple choice. So this is an answer right here that I highlighted. In the part I highlighted, which one's our little gator chomping? It's chomping the X. So in the answer down here where X is on the left, which one's my gator need to chomp? Needs to still be chomping that X. So if you take the variable and the numbers and make them switch sides, that's when we got to flip the inequality sign too. So if you get to highlight it in green and it's number, inequality sign, variable, if you flip it, you got to flip that inequality sign too. Y'all with me on that? Y'all see what I'm talking about? So like if I have 5 is greater than X. If I go and I want the X and the 5 like that, it's still got to be chomping the same thing. So we got to switch everything around to make that true.